This module is the latter of two parts and will discuss how to best display measures throughout your QI project to demonstrate progress towards your goals. By the end of this module, you will be able to define the purpose of measurement in a QI project, define and describe two types of data, qualitative and quantitative data, distinguish when it is best to utilize a run chart versus a bar graph, and finally, create your own run chart. Once your team has been assembled and has determined the aim of your QI project, and you have determined what measures will be used to show your progress, it is important to select the best ways to display the data when presenting your results. Establishing measures early on helps to fully establish the need for the project. By collecting baseline measures, your QI team can pinpoint exactly where changes need to be made. These measures will help you to evaluate plan, do, study, act cycles, which are rapid tests of change that help you quickly test new ideas on a small scale. Measures are also important when discussing and monitoring sustainability, as data can help you see the first signs of trouble with sustaining the hard work you've done throughout your project. And finally, of course, displaying these measures in a succinct chart or graph can be a simple and visually appealing way to present results to stakeholders and other audiences. Before we get into how to display data, we first need to discuss the two different types of data, quantitative and qualitative data. Both types of data are vital to showing that your project has been successful. Quantitative data, the numbers, is necessary to proving the success of the project and projecting any future success the changes will have. However, in order to have a more complete personalized story, we need qualitative data, the words, as well. Qualitative data includes words, stories, comments, descriptions, anything that shows the impact these changes are having. But how do we get this information? It is really important to think about collecting qualitative data from the very beginning. Record comments during team meetings. Make sure to add open-ended comment sections on all surveys. Write down any quotes you hear during gimbal walks, which are detailed observations of the process in question. When you have quantitative data that shows your improvements, along with qualitative comments that show your customers and employees are happy with the changes, then you have a more complete picture. It is therefore important to get into the habit of presenting qualitative data with your quantitative data. Here's an example of combining the two types of data. This is an excerpt from a newsletter article about a QI workshop we conducted. Note that in the text of the article, we mention 89% of participants were highly satisfied with the workshop, and we explain how we got this percentage. Then, between the pictures, we added quotes that came directly from participants to give the reader an idea of why these participants were highly satisfied. The quantitative gets to what and the qualitative gets to why, which adds richness to your data. When choosing a way to display your quantitative data, it is important to think through what the data represents and what you want the data to say to your audience. Bar graphs can be useful when establishing a gap, such as quick pre- and post comparison results from plan, do, study, act cycles, comparison to a benchmark or goal. Run charts are useful for project measures as they can show improvement efforts and sustainability over time. Run charts can answer the following questions about improvement efforts. Did they improve? What changes resulted in this gain? Did they reach their improvement goal? Is it sustained improvement? Remember, when displaying your data, always connect the information back to the goals in your aim statement. Annotated run charts help tell a story. When showcasing data, it is important to point out events or changes that may have affected the data or data collection process. Perhaps you recently updated to an EMR system, which affected the wait times for that month. It is important to notate these incidences so that your audience has the full story. But remember, do not add annotations during the testing process. Instead, wait until the change has been implemented system-wide to prevent duplicating work if the information changes later on. When displaying data, it is important to create a visual that is easy to read and understand. This means using the least amount of ink possible to display the most information. Try tips such as minimizing annotations, having an informative yet short title, using appropriate axis scales, and avoiding unnecessary words or colors. Looking at the example on this slide, what do you see that could be changed to make the graph easier to read or understand? Some example ideas include delete the gray background, shorten the months on the x-axis, change the number of decimal places to 1 or none, and possibly shorten the title. You may already have some experience with creating run charts, but if not, do not fear, they are not difficult to create. Here is a simple set of instructions to use when creating run charts. Step 1. Develop the horizontal scale or x-axis. This axis is generally used to show time. Step 2. Develop the vertical scale or y-axis. This axis is generally used to show the variable you have measured. Make sure to construct this scale so that it is high or low enough to encompass variation in future data and your goal. Basically, make sure to leave room for changes. As a general rule, most of the data should lie in the middle half of your graph. Step 3. Add a useful title that is short but descriptive. And step 4. Add additional information that may be needed, such as a goal line or annotations of changes or unusual events. These additions will help explain parts of your project so that anyone can understand the graph. Remember to make all titles and other text simple and descriptive. Choose the correct scales to best display the data, and add annotations to demonstrate changes or events as needed. For your convenience, we have developed a run chart maker that can be found on our website. This template has automatic features and instructions to make run chart creation as simple as possible. You can also use Excel to create your own run charts. Here is an example run chart. Let's take a close look. What is good about this run chart? The goal line is well marked. The title is concise and easily readable. The spacing is good, although we may need to change the left side increments if larger data points are collected in the future. What are some things we can change? We don't need the legend for no-show rates. This chart would benefit from annotations to help explain the dives, the ups and downs of the data, to tell the whole story. Deleting the blue background would also be helpful to make it more easily readable. Here are some quick reminders for displaying your data. For all measures, use a measurement plan to document your progress and keep you and your team on track with data collection. Use simple data collection tools. Quick and easy collection means quick and easy data. When displaying data, use the least amount of ink possible to make your visuals as readable and user-friendly as possible. And for your project measures, make sure to use both quantitative and qualitative data to tell the whole story. Create a concise set of measures that includes each type of measure: process, outcome, and balancing measures. Use run charts to track data over time. Start collecting your baseline data at the very beginning of your project. Now let's try it. If you've already begun a project, Think through the data you need to start collecting. Remember to think about quantitative and qualitative data you can collect, and to collect process, outcome, and balancing measures. Think through the best way to display each type of measure. Remember, bar graphs are good for establishing a gap between data with a quick before and after, and run charts are best used for showing data change over time. I encourage you to use the provided link to check out the Quality Improvement Step-by-Step Guide for links to the measurement plan and run chart instructions and template. Thanks for listening and happy measuring!